What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? It's your favorite girl from the 504. Excuse me, bringing you another beautiful episode of Black Girl Interrupt Their Podcast. Hey, everybody! Happy Tuesday. I hope everyone is having an amazing day. I hope everyone had a great weekend. I hope mothers and fathers, I know y'all are excited and ecstatic that these babies have gone back to school. Because I know I am. My baby went back to school today. Y'all, we have a junior. We have a junior in high school. She is the last of the Mohicans. And baby, I am so excited. Oh, but again, I want to say to all the parents, the aunts, the uncles, the cousins, um, wishing your children an amazing school year. Keep encouraging them, keep pouring into them, keep loving on them, and letting them know that the sky is the limit. And whatever they put their mind to, they will always be a winner. Yes, yes, yes. And wait a minute, let me see. Yeah, we're getting some clapping, some applause, round of applause going on. But anywho, uh, again, y'all welcome back to another episode of Black Girl Interrupted Podcast with your favorite girl, Ash. And tonight's conversation, I might ruffle some feathers tonight with this conversation. I may lose followers. I don't know, but it is what it is. But it's long overdue for us to have this conversation. So before we get started, anyone that knows how I start my show, I always do a mental health check-in because I have to check the temperature. Mental health is so imperative and it is so important, not only in the world, but to me as a person that has dealt and continues to deal with depression and anxiety. As I stated before, I'm fully committed to showing up, not just for me, but for you as well. Because I know there are a lot of people out here that are struggling. I know there are people out here that don't have a safe space, that don't have a place to go to unpack, to decompress. Hence why I created Black Girl Interrupted Podcast. So before we get started, I always play something inspirational, something encouraging, something uplifting, because I want you to know I need you to keep going. I want you to know how resilient you are. I want you to know that I'm so proud that you did not give up. And that's the beautiful thing about Black Girl Interrupted Podcast. So here we go. And then we'll jump into tonight's conversation.
Commit yourself to stretch, to get outside of your comfort zone and not be concerned about what people think about you, because they're thinking it anyhow. Don't worry about what they will say. They're already saying it. So what do you care?
I hate Plan B because we have so many doubters. We have so many of those people that say no and you can't do it, that's impossible. That is okay because we just turn off, as I said earlier, and we listen and we hear the no being a yes. You can't do it, you can't do it, and all of that. So that is possible to do that amongst all the negative people around you. But when you start doubting yourself, that's very dangerous. Because now what you're basically saying is that if my plan doesn't work, I have a fallback plan, I have a plan B. And that means that you start thinking about plan B, and every thought that you put into plan B, you're taking away now that thought and that energy from plan A.
Decide that your life has so much meaning to the planet. Decide that you have something to give. That's why you're here. So you didn't just show up. You brought something here. You're on a journey. You have a destination, mission to achieve, to do, to implement, to perform, to experience. Decide to commit yourself to be an adventurer in life. Look out on life around you. Look within yourself and say, where is it in my life that I need to make a commitment right now? Where is it? That it might be for your health. It might be to be a happier person. It might be to make a difference in your community. It might be that. Where is it? I say that commitment shows up And the man or woman who has some idea, some dream that they've been nurturing within themselves, and no one believed it, no one saw it for them, that they weren't masters at it, they weren't experts at it, no one would build a statue and ever call their name and recognize them. They never made it to the front page of the newspaper, but they had something that was theirs, something that was their baby, something that they loved and they believed in, and they just did what they could with what God gave them with their dream.
It is very important to understand that we function better if there is no safety net, because plan B becomes a safety net. It says that if I fail, then I fall and I get picked up and I have something else there that will protect me.
That one hit a little close to home for me today, simply because this is the second year in a row that I have won an award for my podcast. Let me let that soak in for a moment. So I'm on year number 2 winning an award for my podcast. And I couldn't be more grateful for the opportunity. Me winning that award is way beyond the award. It's more so about the hard work and the dedication and the reward you get for your hard work and dedication. As I tell y'all every episode, Black Girl Interrupt the podcast is my baby. And I have to keep pouring into my baby. I have to keep feeding my baby. I have to keep nurturing if I want to see it grow. This is why you are seeing me show up faithfully, because I want Black Girl Interrupted to go beyond just streaming on Facebook and YouTube. I want Black Girl Interrupted to be a household name. I want Black Girl Interrupted to be a space where people say, oh man, I can go in there and I can relax. And I don't have to worry about people judging me. I don't have to worry about people talking or using things against me on Mad Day, because I've already told you everything you needed to know about me. So that's why I made the commitment. Again, not just to show up for you, but not just, I'm sorry, let me say that again. Not just to show up for me, but to show up for you. Because I don't see a lot of spaces like this, and that's not to say that they're not out there. The spaces that I've seen, and maybe I need to switch up things that I view on my For You page. But I see spaces where they're bashing Black men and Black women. Black women ain't this, Black men ain't that. I'm so sick of seeing that. When are we going to start having spaces where people come in and they hold themselves accountable, but feel safe in the process of doing that? When are we going to start seeing more spaces, that promote mental health and provide resources for mental health, particularly in the Black community? When are we going to start seeing spaces where they're helping to remove the stigma of Black men and Black women going to therapy? I want to see more of those. I want my podcast to be in that top range. I want to hear people say, oh man, she has some of the dopest conversations. She has conversations where she's holding not only men, but women accountable, Black men and Black women accountable. She's having some of the most uncomfortable conversations that others would shy away from. I want to be in that conversation. I want Black Girl Interrupted to be a part of that conversation. Again, I'm gonna keep showing up because somebody's watching me. There's somebody out there that's saying, oh man, what this girl is doing is dope. I'm not worried about the quantity. I'm focused on the quality of work that I put out. I'm focused on the quality of conversations that we have. I'm focused on the quality of guests that I'm going to start bringing on Black Girl Interrupt the podcast. So I'm not worried about who doesn't support me now. I'm looking ahead. You understand? Because you may not support now, but you may support later. I don't know. But I know whether you support or not, I'm still going to keep showing up. I'm going to still consistently keep showing up with Black Girl Interrupt the podcast. Period. Now, enough of my little random, my little tangent. I'm so sorry. But again, my name is Ashley, and I am the creator of Black Girl Interrupted podcast. And again, others may not know, but at the start of my show, I always do a mental health check in. Always, always, always. As you see, I did play a video, just something encouraging, just something inspiring to let y'all know, keep going. You know, stop worrying about who's supporting, stop worrying about who's doing this, and focus on you. Focus on the quality that you're putting out. Focus on your niche. Target your audience, the target audience. Appease to the ones that you gravitate to. And stop trying to appease to everybody because not everybody's gonna like what you do. And just be okay with that. I'm cool with that. Some people don't like what I say. I see posts where people say, oh, they just keep giving people microphones. Maybe if you stop and give it a listen, you might get some information from the podcast. You might get something conducive, to your energy. But I'm gonna respectfully digress. But anywho, but drop in the comments, y'all. Let me know how you're feeling tonight. Again, today is Tuesday, August the 11th. I know a lot of parents are ecstatic that their children are now going back to school. So I know a lot of parents are overwhelmed. Some have kids that are just starting school. Some have children that are graduating this year, class of 2027. So again, salute to you parents and the great job that you continue to do. Salute to the children. Um, just go be great. Just go be great. All right, all right, all right. So as we get into tonight's conversation, I'm gonna ruffle some feathers. My brother says another day above ground with my lovely family. Absolutely. I am so glad. Brother, I need to get with you after the show. Um, I have a proposition for you. That I need you to that let me not say I want you and would love for you to be a part of. You always show up for me, so I know you're gonna show up for this one. Once I talk to you and tell you what it is, I already know you're gonna be down. Like full flats on a Cadillac. I'm not worried about that. So I'm gonna hit you up after the show. That is my brother Marcus. Oh man, what can I say about this dude? Like he's so awesome. He has a podcast. Uh, brother, why is my mind is so blank? But he talks about sports. He does his show. I know on Mondays and I've seen him on Thursdays. But please post in the comments the name of your podcast so that way I can get people to come over. I'm gonna share. So that way people can come and support you as well. Cause man, you two guys, man, boy, y'all have an amazing show, and I love the conversation and I love the dialogue that I see amongst three outstanding black men that do it so eloquently without all the over talking and oh you da. I love it. I love it. I love it. So tonight's conversation again, I may ruffle some feathers with this, but tonight's conversation is white privilege and what is it? Yeah, yeah. I'm starting to see a lot of content on social media where you see things happening to black people, but you don't see it happening to whites. So I want to discuss that. There are a couple of cases that I want to speak to simply because we're seeing the white tee get a slap on the wrist while our black men and black women and black boys and black girls are consistently railroaded by the system. Same crime, just different outcomes. We got a couple of comments. Let's see. All right. So my brother Marcus, it is called Two Sides to an Opinion. It's his first podcast, and then Suplex City to City. Please follow Marcus on all social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. He's everywhere. And when I tell you, he is dope. He is dope. He is dope. He's dope. He's dope. He's dope. When I tell you, I love popping in on his chats and listening to them talk sports. I love it. I may not be big into wrestling, but I know enough because my son is diehard wrestling fan. So I pick up a lot of stuff from him. But again, Two Sides to an Opinion and Suplex City to City are the two podcasts. Please, please, please go love, go support, go comment, like, share, subscribe. Because it takes $0 and it takes zero away from you to like, to comment, to share. Let's start supporting one another. But that'll be a whole different conversation for a different day. So white privilege, what is it? Again, I may ruffle some feathers with this conversation. People may unfollow, people may call me racist, whatever they want to do, and that's fine. But we cannot say that white privilege does not exist. We see this happening far too often nowadays. What is white privilege? Let's get into it, and then let's jump back into the conversation.
Taxi! Have you, or anyone that you know, ever had trouble hailing a cab? If your answer is no, then you might have white privilege. Here's how it works.
You'll see your child when you look at him. Look at David, age 9.
From the moment a white person is born, they're afforded certain privileges. While the extent and nature of their privilege varies from country to country, one thing's consistent. If you're white, society be like, you out here winning. So what's white privilege? In the words of Peggy McIntosh, a white scholar who started studying white privilege in the 1980s, white privilege is an invisible package of unearned assets that I can count on cashing in each day, but about which I was meant to remain oblivious. In her essay, White Privilege, Unpacking the Invisible Knapsack, McIntosh even detailed dozens of examples of white privilege that she experiences in day-to-day life. For example, white folks are able to turn on the television and see someone who looks just like them. She even details things like being able to find band-aids that match her skin. And it works in 3 distinct ways. First, white privilege provides white people with perks. Some perks go unnoticed, like being able to actually use complimentary shampoo and conditioner at a hotel. These perks lead to a sense of entitlement because whiteness is the standard. Imagine how white women would react if hotels only carried Shea Moisture. White privilege also creates measurable advantages. A white person is more likely to be approved for loans than black folks, and that's part of what has led to disparities in home ownership. Under 42% of black folks are homeowners compared to 72% of white folks. And what about jobs? With the exception of Asian men, all groups make less than white men when we talk about median hourly earnings. This especially impacts black women. Black women make 62 cents for every dollar that white men make, and we also make 79 cents for every dollar that white women make. Not to mention that white people are able to profit off of industries that have historically penalized black folks. Just look at marijuana. According to the ACLU, the use of weed is pretty much the same among black and white people, yet black folks are nearly 4 times as likely to be arrested for possession. When it comes to banking off of the billion-dollar industry, black folks are shut out. About 1% of dispensary owners in the US are black. Yep, that has white privilege written all over it. And folks, we're only talking about weed here. The fact that there are major disparities in incarceration rates based on race is no surprise. Finally, white privilege has pretty much come to shape everyone's view of history. Everything we've ever learned in schools, every face on our cash money, damn near every page in textbooks centers white people and has been written from the white perspective. These are the faces of our nation's heroes. Why does this matter, you say? Well, white privilege literally affects everything.
Income, education, employment, incarceration, spending, housing, and even assembling.
Real talk. Do we think that a black person can protest while being armed and live to see the next day? These unearned handouts afforded to white folks are completely real, and the effects of white privilege are measurable. In the words of Damon Young, editor-in-chief of Very Smart Brothers, what white privilege means for white people is that their whiteness hasn't been a social, political, professional, financial, or legal hindrance. They have the privilege of the benefit of the doubt, which manifests as the privilege to just be. So now that you know, are we gonna dismantle white privilege or not? Real talk. Real talk. Real talk. Real talk. Real talk. Real talk.
That video will never not be funny to me. But what she said, she made a lot of valid points. I was reading a post maybe about a month ago on Facebook where a white man was degrading black people. And he said, black people were the highest welfare recipients, until I had to go and dismantle his whole point of the post. Because white people receive more welfare because they're the largest population. I believe what I was looking at, let me go back, let me pull this one back up. I'm gonna tell you. All right. So I should have had this pulled up, so I do apologize. So according to the USDA, which is the United States Department of Agriculture, when it comes to the racial breakdown of food stamp recipients, whites, 35 to 36%. African Americans, Black or African American, 25 to 26%. Hispanic or Latino, 16 to 17%. Asians, 3 to 4%. And then your Native Americans, 1 to 1.5%. Then he continues on to say, Black people don't want to work. Black men don't take care of their children. According to the CDC, because again, one thing for sure, two things for certain. You could argue with me all day, but you can't argue with stats and numbers. And that's what I'm going to always bring you anytime I have these conversations, is I'm going to always bring you stats. I'm going to always bring you facts. I'm not going to bring you anything. Of course, I'm always interject my opinion. But when it comes to specifics, I'm going to give you stats, because you can argue all day with me. And I don't have a problem with that. But you can't argue with the stats and you can't argue with the numbers. White men rank. Let me correct this. Black men rank, I want to say, during the time that I looked at this, 46 or 47% higher than whites, Asians, and Latinos when it comes to taking care of their children. So stop saying that Black men don't take care of their children, or they're not in the household. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. They are. It's just the media just doesn't want you to see that. The media wants you to keep believing that Black men don't take care of their children. The media wants you to keep believing that Black people are the highest when it comes to being welfare recipients. Again, You can argue with me, but you can't argue with the numbers. You can't argue with the facts. I believe white people make up 67 or 68% of the people in the world. So of course, there's going to be a bigger number. We're not even close to being 60 or 70% makeup in the population. Black Americans are. When you look at jobs, I really wish they would remove race off those job applications. Does it matter? What if I'm yellow with zebra stripes? As long as I could do the job, what color I am shouldn't matter. So I don't check it. I don't check it. And then when you start talking about DEI, who did DEI benefit? Not the blacks. Again, argue with me all you want, but you can't argue with the facts. Affirmative action. A lot of y'all wouldn't be over here if it weren't for the civil rights movement. Y'all benefited from us, but yet we're disrespected every day. We're disregarded every day. But yet when things go awry, you're calling for us to come help. No, we're resting. We're resting now. We're on let me just say for me, I'm on do not disturb. I'm on do not disturb. And then if we look at how the judicial system works, we have all these black boys that are turning up dead. And deaths are being ruled as suicides or no foul play. I was looking at a case here in Texas. And hey, cousin, it's good to see you, baby. So I'm looking at this case because I want to still continue to spotlight Carmelo Anthony, despite how some of you may feel. Carmelo Anthony got into an altercation with Austin Metcalf, a white teenager here in Texas. Austin Metcalf lost his life. Carmelo Anthony went to trial and was sentenced to 35 years. First offense. This baby's never been in trouble. Was convicted of murder because the judicial system didn't feel or warrant it as self-defense. But then you have Casey Allison, Caucasian, was about the same age as Carmelo when he committed murder, but was sentenced to 10 years. Initially, he was facing, had he been convicted of murder, he was facing anywhere from 5 to 99 years. Okay, so I went down the rabbit hole with this case. Him and Joe Ramirez got into an altercation at an off-school event. I believe it was a homecoming party or a prom party. There was a gun that was fired. Case and Allison thought it was Joe Ramirez. Come to find out it was not him that fired the gun. So a few days later, there's an altercation at the school. Joe Ramirez is stabbed 4 times and dies. Case and Allison left and went home, but claimed self-defense. Again, I went down the rabbit hole with this case. There were Snapchat messages that were recovered that Case and Allison was having with his friends about fighting Joe at school. Case and Allison brought a weapon to school. Okay? He brought a weapon to school. There were some exchanges between the two boys. They fought in the bathroom. Joe didn't have a weapon, but Case and Allison did. Joe was stabbed 4 times. 4. But y'all say that's self-defense. Carmelo Anthony was bullied by 5 to 6 individuals. Now let's look at Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony's, he's 5'5", 135, 140 pounds. And you have 5 to 6 big people hovering over you. He stabbed Austin 1 time and stayed. But y'all say that's murder. Negligent homicide wasn't on the table. Manslaughter. None of that was afforded to Carmelo Anthony, a young black male in Texas. But you have Case and Allison, a white boy who was only facing 5 to 99 years. He was initially sentenced to 2 years, but the family of Joe Ramirez pushed for the deadly weapon enhancement, so he was only given 10 years for negligent homicide. Let me run that back for you. You stabbed someone 4 times. How is that self-defense? And then you left. There were Snapchat messages between Kaysen and some of his other friends stating what he was going to do to Joe when they got to school. You intentionally brought a weapon to school, intentionally. So can we take self-defense off the table? Can we stop saying that that was self-defense? Because you knew you were going to fight Joe. You brought a weapon. Joe did not have a weapon on him. So how was that self-defense? When you stabbed him 4 times and left. Carmelo, on the other hand, again, wasn't afforded that opportunity. Carmelo Anthony was sentenced 30 to 35 years. First offense. You can't tell me that that's not white privilege. You cannot tell me that. Let's look at this case. And then we're going to get back into the conversation because you're not going to convince me that white privilege is not a real thing. Here we go.
He was sentenced to nearly 80 years behind bars. But now this Oklahoma teenage baseball prodigy is avoiding prison altogether, and his victims' loved ones say the justice system failed them. Brooke Taylor is following the story. She's live in Dallas. Brooke, tell us all about it. How did it happen?
Hi, John. Yeah, we spoke to the mother of one of the victims who says that their heart is just broken here, and the family feels like there is really considered a youthful offender. He got to avoid prison time and was put on a rehabilitation plan. The victim's family says the DA's office should not have signed off on this deal, but this is a small in order to avoid that jail time. But if he violates anything, then he could be reclassified as an adult and could face that prison time. John.
Football runs the show. Haven't heard that one before. Brooke Taylor for us. Brooke, thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on.
So I want to get into this case. Jesse Butler. You can't tell me that is not white privilege. You have a 17-year-old monster, because I'm gonna call it what it is. He's not mental, and that's another thing. Stop saying that this is a mental illness. Anthony was in, Case and Allison. Different cities, same, but now he has filed an appeal, which he has every right to. Again, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a lawyer, but he has every right. I'm not ready to do that. Some of y'all just say, oh, Carmelo Anthony, he deserved life in prison. He took a life. Case and Allison took a life and he only got 10 years for negligent homicide. And again, he would have only been given 2 years had the family not have fought for the deadly weapon enhancement. That's white privilege for you. I see these videos of white men and white women getting into it with police officers. And then if you look further down the road, they're laughing and having conversations with them. Hey, Yoshi, I love you too, beautiful. I love you too, gorgeous girl. But you can't tell me that white privilege doesn't exist. I look at the former OnlyFans model who was charged with second-degree murder, who just pleaded to manslaughter and was only given 6 years for stabbing her boyfriend, of which she's going to get credit for time served. So in other words, she'll be out in maybe 2 years, 18 months. And the sad part about this is the man's family signed off for it. Y'all agreed to this. I do know that any sentence that a person is given is not going to bring your loved one back. But at least fight to have justice for them. Fight for the justice. If something were to happen to one of my children, I'm going to fight for justice. I'm going to fight it tooth and nail. I'm going to fight it all the way to the end so my child can get justice and be okay with them doing 3 years in prison. Are you serious? No. Derek Chauvin is because they were about to burn Minnesota down to the ground if they didn't get a conviction. I look at the case of Sonia Massey. I'm so sorry. I'm thinking Sandra Bland. She is on my heart and my mind today. This police officer. You want special privileges because you have cancer. And you hear him on camera say, "Who says I can't punch you in the face?" So let's stop acting like this white privilege is not a real thing. Let's stop acting like that. Let's take the blindfold off. Let's take the blinders off. And let's see the truth for what it really truly is. Because it's out there. It's happening. We're seeing this. We're seeing this repeatedly. But yet they tell us, you need to comply. Go fight it out in the court of law. Philando Castile complied, and he still lost his life. I look at Sean Bell. Sean Bell was about to get married, was coming out of his bachelor party, lost his life in New York. I look at Amadou Diallo. A lot of y'all don't remember these names, but that's how that goes to. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. I see white privilege every day. I see some of my Black counterparts that I work with that have the skills, the education to do the job, and they're passed over for someone that has less experience, no degree, and maybe 0 to 6 months of education. We see this. We see this in schools. We see this.
News reporter Sydney Walker has the latest in Case and Allison's legal battle. Sydney.
Allison's lawyers are appealing, but the state says none of their reasons warrant reversing the conviction, the deadly weapon finding, or his 10-year sentence.
Case and Allison's attorneys are appealing the former Belton High student's criminally negligent homicide verdict and 10-year prison sentence for stabbing and killing classmate Joe Ramirez. They argue 3 key mistakes happened in his trial. First, the appellant outlines jurors were never told they could consider self-defense for the lesser charge of criminally negligent homicide. Second, Allison's team says prosecutors failed to disprove Allison acted in self-defense, bringing up details from the trial, like Ramirez punching Allison first. And third, the deadly weapon finding. A jury never explicitly said a deadly weapon was used in their verdict. A judge did, and it wasn't during the trial, according to the appellant. 6 News spoke with legal analyst Liz Mitchell before the deadly weapon enhancement was approved. She explained the impact it could have.
There is an affirmative finding of a deadly weapon. The judge cannot give the defendant probation. So whether or not there is a deadly weapon finding in this case is critically important.
The deadly weapon finding took Allison's max sentence from 2 years to 10. But the Bell County DA's office says none of it holds up. They argue Allison's lawyers never asked for the self-defense instruction and say self-defense isn't compatible with the negligence charge in the first place. As for evidence, the state points out several counter details, like Allison bringing the weapon to school, allegedly planning a fight, and stabbing Ramirez multiple times. And on the deadly weapon issue, prosecutors say Allison chose to let the judge decide his punishment, and Texas law allows that judge to make the finding.
The defense is asking for a new trial, an acquittal, or a new sentence without the deadly weapon finding. The Texas Third Court of Appeals has until July 20th to rule.
So let's unpack that real quick. Because you brought a knife to school. Again, if y'all go down the rabbit hole and really do your research regarding this case, you'll see what I mean when I say that was not self-defense. Because again, there were messages, Snapchat messages where he was exchanging, Kaysen was exchanging with his friends saying he was going to fight Joe. Joe didn't have a weapon. You claim self-defense, but you stabbed him 4 times. You intended to kill him because you thought this through. I saw on a post that someone said, oh, that sounds like mental illness. No, it's not. That sounds premeditated. Because you consciously made a decision to bring a knife to school to fight. If all you wanted to do was fight, what was the knife for? What did you need to bring it for? Joe didn't have a weapon. Maybe he didn't know Joe didn't have a weapon. I don't know. But you stabbed this baby 4 times. And then you left and went home. But you say self-defense. And again, y'all heard it for yourself. He was only sentenced to 2 years. Only. Until the family pushed for the deadly weapon enhancement. There was legal findings of a deadly weapon, and that was a knife that Kaysen brought to school. The judge ruled on that. Maybe he got that first offense. Never been arrested, never been to jail. Was convicted of murder and sentenced to 35 years. Why was manslaughter not offered to him? Why was negligent homicide? 2 different cities. Same issue. Only difference, Carmelo Anthony didn't bring a weapon on the pretense of knowing he was going to be jumped or harassed or bullied by 5 to 6 people. But Case and Allison did. You knew you were going to fight Joe. You said it. And I believe Joe wanted to fight. But I do not believe Joe wanted to lose his life either. So again, white privilege is not a real thing. You don't believe it is. I just gave you 2 examples. Also gave you another one about the young lady in Miami who was charged with second-degree murder, but was allowed to plead guilty to manslaughter and was only given 6 years with credit for time served. So she'll be out in about 18 months to maybe 2 years. And this was a woman that had a history of being violent towards her boyfriend. A history. The videos came out where she's slapping and punching all of them in the elevator. But y'all are okay with this. Y'all feel like it's fair. Oh, justice was served. And then you have the families that agree to this. If you intentionally murder one of my children, I'm not agreeing to a plea deal of manslaughter and you're only given 5 or 6 years in prison. Absolutely not. I want you to stay in there because if I have to do life without my child, I want you to do life in prison. I want you to get 35 to 40 years and I want you to serve the max. I would show up to every parole hearing to ensure that you do not harm anyone else in this world. But this is what we do. We settle. And again, as I stated earlier, I understand the stress of having to go through a trial, the stress of having to look at autopsy photos, the stress of having to listen to testimony, not only maybe from witnesses, but the medical examiner who has to point out this person was stabbed here, this person was stabbed there, this person was shot to change. The only thing that I've seen so far that they got right was the young man that they sentenced to those life sentences in Georgia that shot up that school. And they held the father accountable for him because he purchased the gun. I want more media coverage. I made a post a couple of days ago about how quiet it has been about the young man that went to the In-N-Out in Idaho and shot up the place of business where I believe 2 or 3 people died. No coverage. But y'all strung Carmelo Anthony's trial and case every day. But then y'all will turn around and say, oh, he was mental. No, he wasn't. Call him what he was demonic. Look at the school shooters at Columbine. Sandy Hook. Santa Fe. Shall I keep going? Y'all keep saying these people are mentally ill. That's the problem now. This is why there's a stigma around mental health. Stop calling everything mental illness. Because when y'all start doing your investigation and you find these manifestos, that's premeditated to me. That's someone who clearly sat and thought to write out what they were going to do. A lot of people were upset with Rodney Hinton Sr., who in a moment of depression, of losing his son, who was shot by a police officer, who ran over a police officer, charged with murder. And y'all mad. We're tired. We are fatigued. Do you understand? Every day for the last 6, 7 months, we've lost our Black children so violently. And it was an accident. No foul play. I'm looking at this Nolan Wells case. All the players in this are moving so weird and funny to me. Why are y'all not calling for this medical examiner's job to be taken. Do you understand how many people have just lost their lives in Mississippi in less than a month? They just found a young lady hung in a tree in her backyard in Mississippi. You got Nolan Wells. They found a young lady, I believe she was either 13 or 14, shot. But ain't nobody mad. What about the 215 bodies they found buried behind a Mississippi prison? No outrage. No outrage about Jesse Butler. No outrage about the young man in California that walked in a library and started firing in a library, killing 2 people. No coverage. But if someone black commits a crime, oh, we're going to talk about that to the end of time. That's going to be everywhere. So again, you can't tell me that white privilege doesn't exist. We see this all the time. But I want to let them know that you may have freedom of speech, but you're never free of consequences. Because trust and believe karma doesn't miss a person or forget an address. You keep saying, oh, racism is not real. Yeah, it is. Yes, 15 years old, shot in the face. But y'all keep saying white privilege is not real. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. Yeah, it is. I've experienced it. I was told I was bitter because I want to gatekeep stuff in our community. Y'all do it. It's okay if y'all do it, but it's a problem if we do it. I'm going to always be pro-black. Always. I'm going to always fight for the ones in the right that look like me. You understand? But that doesn't make me racist. Because the same way you protect yours, I'm going to protect mine. I don't care how you slice the bread. I don't care how you cut the pizza. I don't care what type of icing you put on your cake. I'm always going to fight for the right of me. My sister says some girls allegedly shot her over some boy. Oh, Lord. That's so disgusting to me. That is so disgusting. Over a boy. That is the most heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching thing ever. Disgusting. This world is so evil. And then you have a president that condones this, that incites this. And y'all can't see that. My sister says correct. And y'all can't see this. One thing I want to let y'all know, we're not our ancestors. Some of y'all that support this, I believe you would have told on Harriet Tubman. I believe you would have. But again, white privilege. It's a real thing. We see it. I have some white friends that see it too and have told me about their experiences and have said white privilege is a real thing. I've heard them talk about it. I've heard them scream and shout it from the rooftops. So it is a real thing. It's a true thing. It's something we experience every day. whether it's in the workplace, whether it's, in the hospitals. We see this consistently. Black women are treated horribly by white nurses and white doctors. We see this. We see this. And y'all not upset about it? Y'all keep saying, oh, well, what are we going to do complaining about it? Keep talking about it. Keep having this conversation. Keep bringing it to the forefront. Stop being afraid to shake the table. Stop being afraid to open up the envelope. Stop being afraid to call a thing what it is. You understand? That's the problem with y'all, because y'all don't want to offend people. I don't have a problem. And I'm not saying all white people are bad, because I know some bad black people. I know some bad Asians, some Hispanic. I know bad in all races, because that's the first thing y'all want to run to. Oh, it's bad. I know that. But I want to talk about the privileges that are afforded to y'all that we don't get. We can't walk in a bank with a business plan and $1 million or $500,000 and open up a business without the runaround, without the red tape. We can't do that. We're not afforded that opportunity. Y'all keep saying, yes, we are, yes, we are, yes, we are. No, we're not. So again, you cannot tell me white privilege is not real. They make it hard for us to get houses. I'm glad that they lowered the credit score now. You only need, I believe now it's a 620. I'm grateful for that. But let's call a thing a thing. Let's stop tap dancing around these conversations. And let's start opening up. Let's start peeling these layers back and get down to the root of it. And again, call a thing a thing. Let's call it what it is. Of course, we're not treated equally. Absolutely not. We see this. We hear about it. We've experienced it. We experience it every day. And y'all keep saying, oh, but you got to keep doing this. You got to keep doing that. We're tired. We're tired of being your shields. You run to us when you need us, but then when you don't need us, you throw us away and throw us back in the closet till you need us again. And here we are, we keep showing up. We keep showing up for the ones that won't show up for us. At what point do we say, you know what, I'm not going to keep doing this. You're not going to keep using me. I'm not your punching bag. I'm not your scapegoat. We see it in movies. We see it in TV shows. We see these reenactments of how whites use their privilege to get out of certain situations. I saw a video of a white man who had an encounter with the police, and he had a baseball bat, was swinging and everything. We see this. He wasn't shot. He was tased. And then it was a conversation that was had. Well, what's going on, buddy? Oh, really? But with us, we're questioned to the third degree. Well, whose vehicle is this? How can you afford something nice like this? Really? Not all of us are drug dealers and gangbangers and rappers and NBA stars. Why is it so hard to believe that black people could have nice things? and we could afford nice things. My sister says, you better speak. And I am. I've seen these routine traffic stops. And then you hear the white people in the comments saying, oh, you should just comply. You should do this. What's wrong with us knowing the law? Are we not supposed to know it? So we're supposed to allow public servants who took an oath to serve and protect mistreat us? And we're supposed to be okay with that? No. Because see, for us, a traffic stop warrants one or two things: death or jail. One thing that white people hate is an educated black man or woman. That's what they fear the most, is when we're educated about things they feel we should know nothing about, specifically the law. Because see, a lot of us don't know. And we just go with whatever they tell us. Then they say, oh, well, take it and fight it in court. Let's handle it right here. Let's talk about how when they pull us over, they come to the car with their hands already on the gun. For what? Well, get out of the car. For what? Make it make sense to me. Help me to understand this. Because that'll never sit right with me. It'll never sit right in my spirit. Because again, I look at all these cases. And when I see these videos, I don't just go based off of the little clip that they show, because I need to know the backstory before I pass judgment, before I interject my opinion or my thought. So I'll go down the rabbit hole and I'll investigate and then draw my own conclusion from what I find before I form an opinion. I've heard people when they said, when Trayvon Martin was killed, oh, he deserved it, he was this. They love dragging up their past. But what does that have to do with the crime at hand? But when you see the white people, it's, oh, he came from a broken home. His mother was an alcoholic. There was no father in it, to get on their sympathy. No. Because I've seen them come from two-parent households and still turn out to be murderers. But there's that white privilege again. There it is. See, a lot of y'all don't like to have these conversations. Because the first thing you say, oh, you're racist. I told you. Just because I'm pro-black doesn't mean I'm anti-white. But I'm here to call a thing a thing. I'm here to address it. I'm here to bring it to the table. I'm here to put it on the forefront. Because I have white friends that are real cool. But they're still not invited to the cookout. You still not. Because you're not sending me no country club invitations. Call me what you want. But I'm going to always fight for the justice of the ones that look like me first. Because we're the ones that need the most protection. We're murdered at higher rates. Conviction rates are higher. White people get a slap on the wrist. Is that fair? Is that not privilege? I want you to do your own research. I want you to run down a rabbit hole yourself and get the information and find out what I mean when I say there's a big difference between how whites and blacks are treated. White privilege is a real thing. The question is, how do we dismantle it? We got to start fighting. We have to start protecting our own. We need to start running to the polls. Put the right people in position. Go and be loud. If y'all could be loud about fighting in Waffle House and oh, I ran and just got the new pair of Jordans, be loud about something that makes sense. I don't give a damn if you went and stood in line for 10 hours trying to get the newest pair of Jordans. I don't care if you went and stood in line for 8 hours trying to get a brand new iPhone. I don't care. Because that makes zero sense to me. But then you sit back and you complain about what's going on. Go be a part of the change. Oh, my little brother says there aren't enough people like you. Truth is spoken and not enough people listen to it or act on it. God bless you. But there's good and bad in all. You want to see a difference? You want to see change? Go and be a part of it. Go and be a part of the change. Start having these conversations. Start opening up. You'll be surprised at some of the stories that you'll hear from your white friends, your white co-workers, that will tell you how they've utilized their privilege. There's one that works with me. And she shared with me. And I said, oh, okay, that's cool. And she bragged about having zero experience, no degree, and how she was promoted over the black man that had the experience and the degree. So it's a real thing. One of the things that I appreciate the most are the ones that take the time to listen to what I have to say and don't just brush it off. That are willing to understand, that are willing to explain as I'm willing to explain. I'm appreciative of that. But it happens. And it's a real thing. But it's up to us to change that. I may not live long enough to see that. But I pray that my children and their children and their children and their children will continue to fight. Because we're tired. We're tired of fighting to prove that we're the best. We're tired of fighting to prove that we are qualified. We're just downright tired. We are just downright fatigued. We just downright have no energy left in us. So maybe that's why we're resting. Maybe that's why we're resting. Maybe we're tired of being your stepping stones. Maybe that's what we're tired of. Maybe we're tired of the unfair treatment that we receive in the workplace, in the hospitals, by law enforcement, by the judicial system. We're tired. Same crime, just different outcomes. Same job, same position, just another person selected. We're just downright exhausted. We're tired. When I tell you, I am so fatigued. that I see these videos and read these cases and hear about these cases and investigate these cases where justice is not being served, where they're just given a slap on the wrist and sent home. These police officers. Maybe police brutality will stop if you start taking their pensions. Maybe that'll stop. Maybe it'll stop if we take it to the highest extent of the law with them, sue them civilly. Maybe if the immunity for the boys in blue is removed, maybe we'll really see some true justice. Laws need to be changed. I had a conversation with my boy about stricter gun laws. I want more coverage for these school shootings. Maybe that'll convince someone to have stricter gun laws. Maybe that will remove the stigma, as I stated, around mental health. Again, because anytime things like this happen, they always say, oh, it's mental illness. Oh, he was beat as a child. He was this, he was that. Okay, well, let's talk about the ones that weren't abused. Let's talk about the ones that come from well-to-do families, two-parent households, live in the suburbs, went to some of the best schools, and commit murder. Or go out and commit crimes. Because it's always that rhetoric. Fair or unfair. I just know I'm tired. I need a mental break. Because to see all these stories and these cases, maybe because I'm an empath. Maybe that's the problem. But I want to fight. I have it in me. I have the voice. I have the platform. I want to fight. And I'm going to keep fighting. You can't silence me. You can't take away a gift that God gave me. I'm going to always advocate first for the ones that look like me. Because everyone says, oh, you're just a bitter, racist black woman. Call me what you want. I've been called worse. Call me whatever makes you sleep good at night. Call me whatever you want that keeps your sheets cold at night. I don't know. But I'm pro-black before anything. I'm pro-black. I'm pro-equality for my people. I'm pro that. I'm pro for fair treatment. I'm pro for better treatment when it comes to not just healthcare, in the workplace. Because some of y'all see it. Some of y'all just turn a blind eye to it. But here's your reminder. I'm not turning a blind eye to it. I'm going to always stand on the side of right, though. When my people do bad, I call them out. When we're right, we're right. But let's stop using that and saying white privilege doesn't exist. Because we know it does. Another show in the bag for the books, babe. Man, I just want to say I love y'all so much. I appreciate all the love and the support that y'all give me each and every time I'm in front of this camera, each and every time I'm behind this microphone. I posted me winning 2 years in a row an award for my podcast. But I couldn't have done it without y'all. I get up here and I do this each and every day, each and every week, to open the door to have these conversations. That's why I do this. But I also do to show y'all what hard work and dedication looks like. Even on the days that I don't feel good, I get up here and I push through because I made a commitment, because I have a vision for Black Girl Interrupted podcast. This is my heart and my soul. This is my baby. That's what this is. I love doing this. I love having these thought provoking conversations. I love having conversations about topics that most people will shy away from because they don't want to offend people. I love that because I not only am I trying to teach you, but y'all teach me to look at both sides of the coin. Y'all teach me that there's good and bad in everybody. But y'all also teach me to be unapologetic. Y'all teach me how to just keep being Ashley and to keep doing it is what I do. And I appreciate that because it's good to learn from others, you understand, instead of just having a one-sided opinion. I'm open to hearing anything anyone has to say. That's called conversation. That's called dialogue. And I'm here for that. So anyway, so shout out to your girl for winning 2 years in a row for Women Who Podcast. Yeah, baby, I won 2 years in a row. I love it. I'm grateful. Shout out to Women Who Podcast for affording me the opportunity to even submit my work, for them to even take the time to listen to my work and to encourage me to keep going. Shout out to Women Who Podcast again for teaching me that it's quality over quantity. Because they told me, they said, as long as you give quality work, the quantity will come. So I say that to anyone that is an entrepreneur, a business owner, someone that's getting started, whatever it may be. Keep going. Stop focusing so much on who supports. Stop focusing on the numbers and focus on the quality of work that you want to put out. Regardless of how many times you fall down, get back up. It's out there and it could be done. I do this to show y'all that if I could do it, you could do it. Whatever you put your mind to, whatever you put your heart into, you can make it work. You can succeed. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. So I want to say to y'all, happy Tuesday. I hope everyone has had an amazing day. Oh, my brother Joshua says, congrats, Ash, and to BGI. Keep up the great work and purpose. Absolutely. Thank you for the love and the support. Thank you for those thought-provoking conversations and your input. Whether we agree or disagree, I appreciate it because you challenge me to think about things. You challenge me to look at things in a different way. You challenge me to do my research. You challenge me to always bring facts and not just opinions. So I appreciate you for that, love bug. I do. I do. But I also want to say to y'all, happy Tuesday. I hope everyone has had an amazing day. I hope your week goes amazing. Don't forget, Black Girl Interrupted streams live every Tuesday and every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I've had to scale back to 8 o'clock simply because I'm trying to put some things together and a lot of those meetings run over. But I'm going to start being on time. But I appreciate y'all just showing up. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I appreciate the likes, the shares, the comments. I appreciate y'all subscribing to my podcast. I do stream live on Facebook as well as YouTube. Black Girl Interrupted podcast is available on all streaming platforms: Apple, Pandora, Spotify. Baby, I'm everywhere. Oh God, I'm so grateful. And appreciative again of the continuous love and support that y'all show me each and every time this camera cuts on and this microphone says ready. I will see y'all tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is Wednesday. Um, I'm debating if I want to do Wellness Wednesday this Wednesday or if I want to wait till next Wednesday. But anywho, uh, we're gonna be back here tomorrow night, and I will start on time tomorrow. I don't have um any meetings or anything that or any people I need to meet with tomorrow. Um, but I will see y'all tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to tell a friend, bring a friend, let them know how it goes down here on Black Girl Interrupted Podcast. I do want to let y'all know for September, um, I am opening up for guests because I do want to start spotlighting Black entrepreneurs. I don't care what your entrepreneurship is. I don't care what kind of business owner you are. If you're selling shoelaces, if you're making cakes, whatever it is, I want to talk to you. I want the world to know who you are. I want the world to see you. No, my podcast is not this big old podcast, but hey, you got to start somewhere. You understand? So, excuse me. Please send me an email. Let me update because this is the you know what, send me and you know what, send an email right here. It is blackgirlinterruptedpodcast at gmail.com. Um, anyone that is interested in being a guest on Black Girl Interrupted Podcast, again, I am spotlighting Black entrepreneurs the entire month of September. So if you want to get your business in front of people, hit your girl up and let's sit down, let's make magic. Um, and I'll rub your back and you rub mine. So on that note, I love you. 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 I hope everyone has an amazing rest of their night. I hope everyone has a beautiful day at work tomorrow. Again, salute to all the parents who sent their children back to school today. Wishing your children a successful school year. And parents, listen to your children. You understand? Take the time and listen to them. Don't just hear them, but really truly listen to them. Because a lot of them have a lot to say. So, on that note, I love you. I will see you tomorrow night. God bless you. Holler.